So let's get muddy. I'm using a piece of clay, about 1.5 pounds. That's a good weight to start with when you're first starting to learn to throw. These are tools from a basic tool kit. So wire tool, a wooden knife, sponge, a needle tool, and a rib. So, and then just a dish of warm water. The first thing that you need to do is prep the clay for throwing on the wheel, and that's called wedging. And it's done by pressing the backs of your palms into the clay. It's sort of similar to kneading dough, but you want to be wedging. You're actually trying to get any air bubbles out of the clay, different than kneading where you're actually aerating. And it's also, it evens out the consistency in the clay, and just really it preps it for going on the wheel. I'm going to take this clay now and pound it into a ball. And you want to be careful that you don't put the clay down with any kind of openings like that, because that will trap an air bubble in there. So you want to put a nice smooth surface onto the wheel head and press it down into a cone. Okay, so you want to actually have yourself pulled really far forward, so you're like hunkered right over the wheel. You almost always will have your hands touching each other, and also you'll have your elbows touching your body, touching your thighs right here. I have my foot up on a brick on my left side here so that my thighs are even with each other. And I like to think about this as like a triangle, because you're going to have your elbows resting on your thighs, your hands together in the back right here, and your stomach. Your stomach is really important. You want to have a really tight stomach. If you think about it, your stomach, there's in martial arts and in yoga, your center is in your stomach. And the first thing that we have to do is center the clay in order to throw it. So I'm going to put a little bit of water on here, put on the pedal, turn the wheel on, and then you're ready to go. First thing you're going to do is press down on the clay to get it down on the wheel. Get it securely on the back. All right, and then pick the wheel speed up. Hands together in the back, tight stomach. You're going to press down the sides of your hands like this, and you're going to push forward and then squeeze. Your thumbs are forward and you follow the clay up and then gently away. The next thing is to set up on the side here. You're going to have a crook in your wrist. Your elbow will be locked right into your thigh, and you'll come over the top with your left hand. So just over like this, and you're going to be pushing down with this part of your palm. And then you do this a number of times. So the same thing, I'm going to press down, I'm going to push, squeeze, follow the clay up into a cone. So my thumbs are pushing forward to create a cone shape. And then I'm going to set up on the side. So always remembering this crook right here. And as you're coming down, your hand is going to be pushing back like this and not out like that. If you're out like that, the clay will bounce you around. If you're like this, you've got the strength of your leg behind you. So I'm going to set up on the side, over the top, and then down. Tight stomach, and then release your stomach muscles and gently away. Okay, we're going to go one more time. Push, squeeze, follow it up. So And when you squeeze, the clay is going to rise up by itself. If you try to pull it up, then you'll actually you can break the clay off at the top. So it's a squeeze. And then set up on the side with this crook over the top and down. Okay. So then once I have this dome shape here, and I can tell it's centered, I'm going to make a little divot, 2 hands touching each other. I'm going to open with my thumb, and then I'm going to pinch. So my hand is going to pinch like a claw, like that. So my left hand, my thumb here supports the top. And as I pinch open, this thumb is keeping that ridge down. Pinch open. And then flatten the bottom. So what I'm doing with my thumb is just going back and forth. I'm flattening and compressing the bottom of the pot. So back and forth. You want to really work the bottom. Even if it's flat already, you still want to compress the bottom. Okay. And then I'll use my sponge. And all that was done at really fast speed. And now I'm going to slow it down. A little water. If I squeeze right at the top, the water comes down on both sides. I'm going to use my knuckle on the outside and these 2 fingers on the inside. And they'll be working right across from each other like that. The clay will be right between here. And I use my thumb to attach my 2 hands to each other so they're working together. So I'm going to, my knuckle right in the bottom here. Now I'm not like that. I'm actually more upright here. I'm going to put just a little bit of pressure and then come up together. And I come up as if it's taller than it really is. So just come up and gently away. I'll use a little more water. Start at the bottom again. Thumb attached. So you can see I'm actually digging a little bit in with my knuckle. My inside hand's just a placeholder, just going to hang there for a second. And then the outside hand's digging in. And I'll come up together. And come up as if it's taller than it really is. So the whole time, you want the clay to always be thicker at the bottom here and then go to thinner at the top. A little bit more water. Dig my knuckle in at the bottom here. And when I'm making a bowl, I'm actually trying to get all the height with it being more in an angular kind of shape like this. And then I'll belly it out to give it the bowl shape, so a curvy bowl shape. So but here, if I keep it like this, I can actually get at all this clay right in the bottom here. What I'm looking for is for the walls to be of an even thickness. So they're an even thickness. And what I'm going to do now is give it its belly. So I'm going to do that with fingertips. And I'm going to scoop with my inside hand and come up, still coming up in a full pull. Okay, and gently away. So at this point, what I can do is use a rib to refine the shape. And so I'll take it and hold it in the bottom of the pot. And I'm actually using the rib almost like a template. So I'm going to go in there, and I don't want to put it straight on like that. I want a little bit of an angle. So Doesn't put too much pressure. Take the rib right in at the bottom and come up. And you can do this a number of times to actually get your shape that you want. So you have to remember that the shape of your pot is always the inside shape, and then you're going to trim away the clay on the outside to match the inside. And that's how you get even walls. We're not so much worried about thickness of walls, but evenness is really important in the pottery world. So then I'm going to actually, I might use the rib right here just to round out this edge on the top here. And then to make sure that the pot is level, because in my technique I actually turn the pot over and trim, center it again on the wheel and trim it with trimming tools. So I want the pot to be level. So to do that, I'm going to support with my thumb and forefinger. I'm going to rest the needle on my thumb. I'm going to draw a groove and then slowly push through. And then take that strip of clay off. So now your pot's level, and I'm going to support the sides while I use the sponge to soften the edges on the top, the rim, which is really important when you're doing something you're going to drink out of, but also glaze sticks better to a softer, rounder surface. And then take the water out. And you take your wire tool and you wrap it around like dental floss, and you can use either your fingers or your thumbs. Nice and taut, slow with the wheel, and pull straight through towards yourself. So now at this point we have to wait for the pot to dry to leather hard until it's ready to trim. And that's another lesson in trimming.